Here we go, episode two, baby.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Back again, man. Last week we talked about vision in our inaugural episode, and this week we're going to expand on that a little bit. Going to keep the line running. Vision is one thing, but we're going to talk about how to turn that vision into reality.
Yes, yes, yes. I think it's great to piggyback off of that because we kind of just dipped our toes into the essence of what a vision is, but actually now building upon the foundational steps to it and practicality behind it is essential.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, talking about why some people have a compelling vision and it never materializes into fulfillment in action, and why it is that some people seem to uh, set goals for themselves, have visions, and achieve a great many of those things. What's the difference? What allows people to turn their visions into practical action and achievement to to really achieve what
Yeah.
they want to do?
Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons. So I think we should kind of maybe hit the top hitters, like the number three that would come to me. Um, Number one, of course, being distractions. Distractions in our modern day and age are everywhere, and they are the number one killer of creating the lives and the visions that which we desire, in my opinion. The amount of energy and distortion that is created by the quick dopamine hits that we have at our fingertips nowadays is what essentially chops up our ability to hold awareness, and the ability to hold awareness on a vision, on the goals that which we set for ourselves in life, requires a level of discipline that those distractions erode very quickly. And if we don't become careful of them, you can see your goals and your self-confidence in being able to attain them quickly vanish. So that would be one thing I'd say. I'll pass it over to you. Maybe you could share one now.
Yeah, yeah, those distractions are definitely abundant. There's many things pulling our attention in different directions, and we've got to have a way to keep our attention focused on our vision when we have a compelling vision. Another thing that we'll get into later is I think sometimes a person tries to reinvent the wheel. We'll talk more about that, but I think that person tries to just go in and attack a project without first learning what successful things have already been demonstrated in that area. So, following after, maybe reading a couple of books in the area, learning from a mentor who's been really successful in that area. Sometimes the ego gets in the way, and this has happened to me
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
That
Oh
I
yeah,
just
me
want
too.
to attack, yeah, a new project or a goal, and I have all this energy for it. The vision is so compelling, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to conquer this mountain. But I think my ego doesn't want to ask the person who's already climbed that mountain. It's a little bit of a like I want to do it without asking that person for help. But sometimes, I mean, you can cut weeks off of a project, weeks of learning, even like for some things, years of learning, if you just study what somebody else has done and learn the best practices and then go in your own direction.
Yeah. Yeah, the lone wolf syndrome.
Yeah, oh, I've definitely been plagued by that.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. Maybe you gave it to me.
Perhaps. But yeah, vision is the destination and target, like we talked about last week. And action requires some system. It requires some system. And we're going to talk about some broad categories of systems of things that you can do to turn a vision into reality. So we're going to get into that. So the first thing we're going to do a little recap. about vision. We started with vision because all of these other things are essentially useless if you don't have a clear vision of where you want to go. I think Brian Tracy, who I heard it from, but it's probably been said like 1,000 times. The greatest waste of time in the world is doing something extremely well, which need not be done at all. So you can learn all of these practices for achievement, but if you're not achieving something, if you're not aiming towards something that you think is worthwhile, you're wasting your time, right? So yeah, you got to have clarity for time management. Um, as far as clarity goes, I want to discuss a little bit about how clear we should be. Like when you have a compelling vision, should you write it down? Should you turn it into a clear goal with a deadline? Some people talk about SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, time bound, etc. What do you think about how clear we should be? I know you have some practices around writing things down and things like that.
Yeah, I think the level of clarity around our visions and our goals in life is something that, of course, is different for everyone, but you can't really get too clear on it. There's no set metric there. The more clear you are, the better. That's just how it is, right? You know, being able to become so invested and so absorbed by your goals in life and the way that it brings imagination to a point of such detail is beautiful. I mean, that is kind of the ultimate sort of path that we kind of want to get to, of being able to really get to the point of being able to mentally picture it to the point where it actually feels like it's existing right here and now. You're smelling, you're
And
bringing. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. Do you think that within being able to visualize it, is it better to be able to say, well, we'll contrast these two things. I want to get in better shape versus I want to lose 20 pounds and run a 5K. Which one of those things is easier to
Yeah.
feel and visualize in your mind?
Yeah. Um, so, there's kind of like two schools of thought here. The grand manifestation sort of coaches like Neville Goddard and people of that caliber, they allude to that the how something happens, the how of how you manifest your goals in life is not a concern. It is only believing that which you want to desire to bring into your life. That's all that really matters. But as far as like that goal, let's say losing weight, being able to quantify it to a measurable standpoint is so valuable, so fucking valuable. Like no doubt about it. You need to have something that you can backtest, something that can give you a direct response to that intention.
Yes.
Say like ask it and then asking yourself to lose weight. Like yes, you can lose weight, of course, um, but it kind of gets lost in the ether. It's like you'll lose sight of the purpose and the meaning very quickly if you don't have quantifiable goals attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. I want to submit that I believe there is no contradiction between those two schools of thought. One that says we should manifest from the Joe Dispenza way, like getting into the quantum part of reality, like really coming into the present and getting into the quantum field and implanting your vision there. I want to say that there is no contradiction between that side of manifesting something and the side of what we'll call taking practical action in the world. I think that those two things are married. The only place that those find a contradiction is in people's minds, not in reality. Both of
Yeah.
those things should be married together.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think the Joe Dispenzas and the Neville Goddards, those like that is a whole different level of this. That is maybe just for a different conversation. It's still the same thing, just like of a whole different caliber. Um, and what I've heard from Kevin Trudeau, he says like manifestation is just the modern word for basically fucking setting a goal and going and attaining that goal.
Yeah.
It's just goal setting is really what it is. And manifestation is the spiritual sort of word that describes how this actually comes to be in our reality and how we actually experience something that we put our minds to.
Yeah, well said. And the final analysis, I don't think that there's really anything mystical about it. There's things that we don't understand about how the process works when you're in that manifestation mode. That I do believe that it's a matter of, yeah, setting the intention and then wanting it badly enough, having a really, it's something that's compelling for you, and then taking the necessary steps to get it. And clarity is the starting point. What do you think about writing down your goals?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say that it is very mystical for me, or it is becoming very mystical. Not saying that it has to be for everyone, but once you start to peel back the layers and begin to unravel the mind and recognize what it actually is, and that is something that begins to become a very touchy subject as far as the words of God. Anyway, I just want to say that it is becoming more and more mystical for me to correlate this sense of goal setting, manifestation, and how it responds in our lives. But anyway, as far as like writing things down, yes, writing things down is like it. There's a reason we call it spelling. It's we're casting spells with our words. There's
Yeah.
so much if we begin to learn about the etymology behind all the words in the English language. I don't know what I don't know the whole full spectrum of it, but I've begun to learn about it, and it truly is fascinating. And when we think about writing, like I just recently, when I picked up this book that I'm dedicating for our other podcast, um, the difference between like using a pencil and a pen, those two just simple differences, and how one is a permanent sort of way of scripting and the other is flexible. It's erasable. And when you write something that you want to like actually happen and you want to write it in stone, using a pen is what you want to be using. And then, script is a whole nother ball game to you could delve into, but to keep it kind of simple, yes, using words on paper is a direct way to bring what is inside to the outside world, and then it's essentially the first step of creation. One of the first steps. The first step is the internal process, the internal fixation on the ideas, but bringing something out into the physical world, it's kind of trippy when you really think about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing what we are and what we're doing here. I mean, we can say everything starts on the inside and comes to the manifest to the outside. It's yeah, and the more you dive into it, the more fascinating it becomes. So yeah, that's clarity. Again, that's why we started with vision, because clarity is the starting point of all achievement. All the other stuff that we're doing depends on knowing where we're going, right?
Yeah, I just want to add just like analogies and metaphors of life are all around us as far as clarity. Let's use building houses for example. There's so much wisdom in being able to correlate building a house to our lives. Someone builds a house, the architect designs the whole thing before any ground is broken. No foundation, no structure is going up until the whole design is already created.
Yeah,
And that is what clarity, that is what a vision is. It's knowing the end goal and then essentially building up that, everything it takes to have that structure, have that building.
absolutely.
So when you build like a foundation for a house, you need to know the outline, what it's going to look like. And the foundation is the most crucial part of that structure. That's
Absolutely.
one of many ways we can relate to the everyday aspects of modern life and how it correlates to our own life's journey into creating a life for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, well said. So, yeah, let's talk about, so now that we've kind of established vision as the starting point, the importance of vision, let's talk about some of those the foundation and the rest of the structure that we can build in once we have a vision. How do we build the house once we have the design? How do we put it up? So I want to come back to what I mentioned, which is we'll say optimal practices. So you have a vision. Now we want to use the best tools that are available to achieve the goal that we have in mind. And say like the best materials. So I mentioned the example of like you want to try to find somebody who's done what you've done. I'm going to give another example, a personal example, a mentor. I had a mentor, I still have a mentor, Mark Michael Lewis, the profitability coach. I mentored with him for over a year when I was in my early 20s, and it was kind of a general mentoring, more like life coach kind of thing. He taught me a lot of like the meta skills because that's what I needed to learn. I didn't really come to Mark and say, I need to learn, I want to achieve this one specific goal. Help me achieve this one goal. I came to Mark and I said, help me learn how to flourish more, how to live a better life. So he was teaching me a lot of the meta skills, like this stuff. Like here's kind of the whole umbrella picture for how you set goals. Here's the meta skills. So he was teaching me some of the stuff, and I can say that accelerated my development. I mean, 100x. I don't know where I would be because he set me on a path in that time towards, he saved a ton of time for me. I was really studying different things and applying my energies in more fruitful ways. So definitely having somebody to show you the ropes, it can just push you forward so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyone that has achieved any level of success in life had a vision at one point, whether they recognize it or not. Most people do recognize it. Some don't. Some will kind of like forget they actually set the intention. But anyway, yeah. So creating the vision is the first step, and usually this is the problem that everyone usually has, including myself in life, creating the vision, because for many people it can become um, overwhelming. It can become so such a fun and exciting thing that to present to yourself that it shrinks you almost because it's like, whoa, like, what the fuck do I actually want in life? What do I want to experience? What do I want to bring into my life? Isn't desire bad? Isn't desire like the devil or something? So that needing to be unpacked and being able to, I guess, going down, everyone's going to be different here. Um, I think the easiest step first, whether it happens to you or you choose to happen for it to happen to yourself, if you are not clear. Some people are already clear, so that's like step one, boom, check it off. It is to begin to shed your current existence because you are living through programs that are most likely not serving you if you're not happy. If you're not happy in your life of what you're experiencing, start to let go of just the unnecessary bullshit. Start getting come back to the core, come back to home, inside the center.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think letting go of what's there. I think somebody once said there's really only like four basic kinds of action you can take. You can start doing something new, you can stop doing something you're already doing, or you can do more of some things and less of others, or you can do less of this thing and more of this other thing. But those are like, you have to stop doing things to start doing other things.
Yeah.
Um, there's only
Yep.
so much room. There's only so much
Yep.
room for the energy. So if your life is filled with things you don't want, then
Yeah.
you
It's
got
that whole cup analogy. It's like, how full is your cup? If you are just being a fucking information whore and just like consuming information and not allowing the cyclical nature of it, being able to then create with it and being able to regurgitate it or at least process it and apply it to your life, then that becomes you become to your cup gets full and then you can't put anything else into that cup. So God's not going to be able to help you, bring more things into your life. You won't be able to. You need to make room in life for newness if you are not happy with where you are right now.
yeah.
So let's go back to another analogy to kind of bring this sort of into maybe more of a clearer picture and begin to kind of build it up a little bit. Because again, there's so many layers here and everyone's going to be different. Um, So like having a vision in life is like having a destination on like a trip you're going to. If you're on Google Maps and you're going to wherever, you're going to the next town over, that's the destination. Your car, your wheels are your like discipline. Discipline is one of the most important things in being able to pursue change, success, and clarity in life. It's um, the commitment to action that is repetitive, but through time, it's like the churning of the wheels. They do the same thing over and over and over again, but they get you to somewhere different. You know what I mean? That's what is
Yes.
it. That's what discipline is. It's the repetition of things that you know are serving you and are getting you that you are doing to intentionally bring you somewhere different. And by that commitment alone is like the RPMs of the car. It's like the more your wheel turns, the quicker you get to that place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's recursive. Absolutely. And the faster you get there, then the more confidence you feel to set new visions and go new places. It's definitely a recursive thing. It's a learnable skill to set the intention and then to build those actions that'll take you there. So learn the best practices, develop a vision, learn the best practices, develop that vision, shed things that are not bringing you to a life that's fulfilling and meaningful, shed the things that are holding you back. The next thing that I wanted to touch on is accountability. So it's one thing to have a clear goal and to have optimal practices to get there, but we also have to have a way to keep ourselves accountable, to keep putting in the work over time. So I just wanted to touch on why do we break promises to ourselves when we have like a super compelling vision and we know we want this and even we have the steps, we have a clear path of action that we can take. I don't know about you, but I'm a planner. Like when I set a vision, like I'll put a plan out there. Like I'm going to do this week and this next week. But sometimes it just falls apart and goes to hell, and I don't do exactly what I promised myself I would do. And I know that's the same for a lot of people. What?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? How do we get the accountability to just stick to the promise, stick to the plan?
Yeah, well, I think for most people, it's because the pain has not gotten intense enough to the point where they are actually committed to the change. It's like the analogy of winners hate losing more than they want to win. The pain of losing is more than the joy of winning. So they pursue winning essentially. Um, Yeah, I think the pain is a great motivator, and by being able to withstand a lot of pain, it can be detrimental and be, um, kind of push us back. But
I've
also, I
noticed
just want,
that. Yes.
what were you gonna say?
I've seen people tolerate situations that I would find unendurable, and everybody's different. But yeah, absolutely, I've seen where a high pain threshold or an unwillingness to act in the face of a lot of pain can sometimes hold somebody back. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be based in fear. It could be based in, a man's idea that he needs to be strong and endure as much pain as possible to be, be worthy and be masculine. But at the end of the day, it costs our own soul at times. But I would say that's the main driver. Um, what was touch on the question again? Because my brain is just
Yeah, no, you're running on like almost no sleep for at least a couple days. Just got back from a cross country red eye. So yeah, I'm happy you're here with me. No, so accountability. Again, we
oh
already
yeah.
touched a little bit on it, but what I want to explore is how do we how do we develop the accountability? And I want to talk about something that we've talked about before. I'm going to ask a specific question because actually my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday. So, and I've heard a lot of people ask this question, so this will be super interesting for anyone that watches this. When is it appropriate to share your goal? Because that's one way of getting accountability is making like a public commitment, maybe just to your friends or maybe on social media that you're going to pursue this goal and you're going to achieve this thing by this time. And I just want to ask like your thoughts on that. Who to share it to, who not to share it to, when in the process to share it or when not to. Because that seems to be an important topic right now for a lot of
Yeah,
folks.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we talked about this already, and honestly, all of my most recent understandings of it has come from Kevin Trudeau, and that is that you have to be very careful with who you share your goals with, because if you share it with the wrong person or people in life who do not share the same morals and values and understanding of this deeper spiritual essence that we truly are, um, they can create pushback energetically to your own goals and visions, which is going to just create more challenge in actually pursuing it. Whether you realize it or not, it's happening on varying levels. It can come very physically, and they can be very emotionally distant or chaotic when it comes to whatever vision you have and whatever that person, how it may trigger them. Or it can become more subtle with their thoughts and how that is getting thrown at you without you realizing it. But be careful, super careful, and it's honestly way more fun and cool to like be quiet about your goals and vision or only share it with a select few and then go achieve it and then show everyone like, hey, I just did this, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck,
Yeah,
where'd that
dude,
come from?
it's your life. You don't need to tell anyone to go and act. You can take action right now. Absolutely. You share when you know that it will accelerate. But yeah, it's not good to share when it won't accelerate your goal. So also just touching on for this podcast that we have kind of an intention for accountability, an episode a
Yeah,
week. We want to put an
yeah,
episode a week out there, and I'm very motivated to keep on a schedule and put try to put an outline together and think about stuff before we get to the time to record because I don't want to lose that intention. I want to keep it going with you
yeah,
and Brad.
yeah. Yeah, so our idea is to, or our, yeah, our idea And it's not even about the like growing the channel, growing in this social media sort of atmosphere. At least with this stream of thought that we are utilizing as a video in our podcast and our channel, at least that's my take on it. It's really just rooted in giving a platform where you and I, who share very similar morals and values, can have a format, a platform for us to share our intentions for life, and so we can create and live the best of life possible. Um, and by doing that online, we are just energetically, subconsciously throwing this out into the most grand scale possible. Whether it reaches millions or not doesn't matter. It's just that intention alone gives a higher degree of accountability. But the fact alone of you and I just sharing whatever our intentions for the week, month, year, 5 years, 10 years, and doing this disciplined, repetitively, is going to just like squeeze and work out that muscle of like pushing the boundaries and like thinking differently about life, and us pushing each other, like me saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing. Oh, and then you're gonna be like, shit, I want to do this thing now. I want to like up him or whatever. It's like it's a
Dude, fuck
friendly
yeah.
way. It's a friendly way to engage with life differently. But when you do this with one person and then you add another person and then it becomes like a community, it's like it amplifies the possibility.
Yeah, man, I'm so grateful that, I think it's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, like just with those networks alone, with a Riverside account, you can reach all that. You have the potential to reach millions of people with this software. It's amazing. I love it. I love this that we have the ability to put this stuff out there like that. Whether it reaches millions of people, it's not the point. Just making it available and putting it out there, like you said, is a beautiful thing. So yeah, we're gonna have a ton of fun with this, and with our new series that's gonna start soon. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I want to talk about a couple more things as we're getting towards the end here. Emotional flexibility. So we talked about having a vision and then implement the best practices to get there, have an accountability system, kind of like what we're doing. I consider this project like a very high level accountability system for us. It's like a forcing mechanism. Like I made a commitment to John and Brant and I don't want to break it. But what about emotional flexibility? Um,
Yeah.
I'll I want to preface this by saying this is the one that I have struggled with the most in my life. I'm generally like very like a structured, practical person. Like I haven't never really had a problem coming up with a vision for where I want to go, and then seeing like a path, like envisioning the end, and then working backwards from the end and putting a path in place to get there. That's my strong suit. But what happens when the world punches me in the face, or I experience a setback, or circumstances completely change, and then I have to adjust to a new reality? That's what I have struggled with. So I want to touch on that, and I want to just hear from you, kind of what do you think about emotional flexibility in the face of achieving the challenges? What have you done? What have you learned around that?
Yeah, so right now I'm in a massive place where I am beginning to strategize and plan very intentionally. And through this recent retreat that I went to, play, improv, and embodying those were very, very important and like a huge part of it. So what I've done is we're all human. There's an aspect of understanding that plans will fucking fail, they'll change, they'll be altered at some point in time. So when I set an intention, like when I build discipline, I will say, like they say, like, 3 weeks is 21 days. If you do something for 21 days, you begin to then start build that habit. So that usually is my goal when I want to build discipline around something, is Aim for 3 weeks and then reassess after that. But anyway, the point is break it down into a week framework because that's what we exist in nowadays, 7 days. And then when you add discipline in, when you add certain structures in place that need to be executed, you have to counteract that with play and freedom. So you have to add in a day or activities throughout that week, which basically breaks down that structure and does the complete opposite of it. It gives ultimate freedom and play.
Yeah, yeah, got to have some balance. That's I think that's words of wisdom, something that I've struggled with in my time to have a really compelling vision and to work on it, just go to the hilt that I'm capable of going to. Sometimes it's very fulfilling, but it can be overwhelming and not sustainable. And I think that's
Give
the
an
other thing is
example.
sure, sure. For me, my book almost took me there. Working on my book, yeah, there were times when it was basically consuming all day, every day, and I was trying to do other projects on top. That was probably my biggest mistake is that I was trying to run some other projects while I was doing my book. That was kind of my BHAG, my big hairy ass goal. And I probably should have just been focusing on that one thing and then using some time to just recuperate and play and just go in the opposite direction and enjoy life and let the tension level go down. But I was trying to stack a couple more things on top of that, and yeah, there was not a lot of free time and not in my life, not a lot of time for playing around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that will, by adding in that counteracting aspect, it creates more space for the creation to come through. Like just from my own experience, when I tell myself I'm gonna wake up at 6:30 a.m. every single day for eternity, it feels like hell. But when you do that like with intention, you say, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up at 6:30 for 5 days out of the week or 6 days out of the week." Why? Because I see that it's building discipline. It's getting me up. Whatever time it is, 6:30, 5:30, 3, whatever. Um, it's getting me up before our kids, our family, everyone else in the world, so I can execute and get things done that I need to get done before the buzz of the world wakes up. You need that intention to understand, and you need to know the why of why you're doing something. But you also need to understand that that is not realistic to say you're going to set these parameters up and you're going to follow it like a fucking robot for the rest of your life and until your goals are finally reached. There is a threshold of that you need to be attaining and that you need to be striving for and that you need to be like, yeah, I'm going to be pushing the limits here, but I'm going to still be able to have fun and I'm going to recognize because of my experiences that that is just not a realistic possibility because you are going to burn out or life is going to throw you curveballs. You need to know how to adapt.
Yeah, well, you just broached the last topic, which is sustainable structures, and yeah, I have a lot to learn from you, my friend. That's
Well,
something. What you're saying has resonated with me a lot. I can definitely learn from that to have that intentional time and understand that you can't just program every second of life, no matter how much of a machine you want to be. Like literally, like we say that sometimes. Like that guy's a machine. He's so productive. He just gets all this stuff done, and like I've tried that really. Like I have been that guy saying I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. every single day and I'm gonna do these practices all the time, no matter what. And I've gotten myself into some gnarly burnout before. So yeah, we gotta have it be sustainable. So I think Yeah, with sustainability, talking about our project, this is the perfect it's the perfect forum to talk about it. The perfect project to discuss. Like
Yeah.
for us,
Yeah.
like having a weekly schedule where we can get it done. But literally, our very first episode, I think we said we're going to record on Mondays, and we did our first one on Sunday because something came up. Being able to just have a structure and have an intention. We have a structure because we know why it's important, but to realize that you don't have to do the same thing over and over again and keep the same schedule every single time. Um, yeah, it's important to have a routine but be flexible, right?
Yeah. To recognize that that is how this world operates. It operates by systems. Nature is a direct representation of it. I'm at a place where I'm literally starting from the foundation. What is the foundation? In my eyes, it's day and night on the outside. Looking simply at the cyclical nature of our sky. What is day and what is night? Night is a time for rest. It's a time for rejuvenation, sleep. Day is for activity, for creation, for experiencing life. It's a direct experience of the duality that we see everywhere, and we actually, without our knowing, are guided by that. We are guided by the day and night. We are guided by the sun. We are not nocturnal animals. There's boundaries you could press. You could, some people can really maybe put their minds to it and stay up in the middle of the night for weeks, but like literally no one's going to do that for the rest of their lives. We are not nocturnal animals. We wake up with the sun. So that
Yeah,
is the most simple and fundamental and foundational way to get back to the essence of a being human in life is to start with waking up and going to sleep. How you meet those two. And it's very fascinating how it's a mirror because many people will say like, "Oh, wake up at this time, go to sleep at this time." Mirror. "Oh, don't look at your phone when you wake up, for an hour or 2 hours." And people are saying, "Oh, don't look at your phone before you go to sleep for an hour or 2 hours." It's a mirror there, and then you can kind of just like start to collapse that into each other, and then you have this chunk of time that is in the middle of the day of just like, what the fuck are we gonna do with all our time in this world? What are we gonna spend and what are we gonna spend our energy on and create during that window? But I think the simplest nature, and it's fascinating to me, is to observe become aware and give intention and understand the day and night cycle, and then build life from there, because that is the foundation. It really is. You sleep, you eat, you piss, you shit, you do all those things. That's just like basics. And how you meet them and how you interact with them, to me, is like super simple, very basic. Start there. Don't start in the middle of the day where it's like life has already happened and created chaos, and like you're in the middle of the day and it's like, okay, now I want to manifest and create life. No, like start like when you wake up, like see the every day as like a mini birth and every night as like a mini death. And like the first thing you do in the day is like, what are you gonna do when you're like first coming into this world, sort of thing, with the beauty of actually having all the knowledge already that you have from your experiences of life.
yeah, yes. That's an excellent, just foundational way to jump in. It's Yeah, it's a good way to stay consistent, to look at a day as
Yep.
like the foundational starting block. And like you said, we live in weeks. The week is super important. We got the work week and we have the weekend. So so you can structure your time around that as well. You can use calendar time, um, and just yeah, build out that block. But yeah, man, the day is the starting block.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
So
and to me,
consistency beats
it's
intensity over the long run, right? Consistency
consistency.
beats it.
What?
We be consistent with those things. Consistency beats intensity over the long run. being able to
Yeah.
build a consistent structure rather than just go hard and just try to cram everything in. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then for me, it's just like, I'm just going to tap on that week aspect. We have the work week, of course, but it's like you can peel back the layers. Like, go start learning about like where did Monday derive from? Where did Tuesday derive from? How
Yeah.
did 7 days a week even form? Like, get curious about it. Get curious about it. Start to ask questions. That's where I'm at. It's like that is part of the restructuring and creating your life is to first really like get curious, learn, and and learn about the world that was already kind of built before us and that is still being built around us. Learn about it because you've been programmed and you've been fucking living by those standards for a long time. They probably haven't been serving you. Reveal the blind spots.
Yes. Okay, practical takeaways. What can someone do if they have a compelling vision, but they feel stuck?
That's a good question. Oh, well, obviously, this is again, to generalize prescriptions or to generalize advice for people is hard. What I would say is stuckness is isolated energy that needs change to move. It needs change. It needs newness in order to stimulate it. It needs something that's going to, you know, shock you a little bit. So change, whatever that is to you, change some aspect of your day. Uh, Whatever you feel called to, try something new. Dip your hands into something that isn't part of your everyday monotony. Go out and try something new. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, excellent. I would say meet someone new. Say if you have a compelling vision, you know where you want to go, seek out somebody who's been there, who's gone down the path that you want to go down, or at least their own version of that path. And see if you can communicate with that person. If they wrote a book, read their book and learn what they did. And sometimes that's the new energy that you need to get moving, to get out of stuck.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's a great one. And before we close here, I just want to say, like, we're obviously super new here and what is this, 2 episodes. If anyone
Yeah.
wants to, if anyone sees this and wants to like talk on anything, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we would like. We want to have an interactive experience. We want to have an interactive community here. So that's the coolest thing. If you're enjoying this and you have something that you're really passionate about, send us a message, comment on the channel, or yeah, we can put a contact in the description as well, so you can reach out and come on here and
Yeah.
join us.
If you're one of those people that, is stuck, this could be a platform to help you get unstuck.
Yes. Awesome, man. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining after your insane travel schedule. It's good times, and yeah, excited to start our other project on Wednesday, and we'll be back with episode three very soon.
Of course, man, I love you so much. I'm super excited about doing this other stream of intention setting and going out and pushing our boundaries to live the best of our lives. It's going to be really fun. This is what I'm super excited about, and I think it's going to be so helpful for the both of us.
Same. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right, bro. Much love. Catch you soon. Peace out, everybody.
Much love. Peace out. Stop.